Woo, what's up? What's up? What's up? Crazy morning. What's up, Quan? See you in there. First one up the bat. Well, let's talk about it, shall we? Let's get into it. Diddy finally gets a small victory here, but it's enough to try to put an end to all of this heinous, reckless journalism that's been going on involving his case. It is so blatant that many people have viewed this as a salacious one-way, it's just a one-way street. Everything that's been involved has been done in a horrific, and I mean horrific, display of non-restraint to sabotage a man's character, his name, everything about himself. Happy Sunday to you. Now, what makes this even more strange is the scenarios in which people were, I would say, put together. Now, when you look at, for instance, you look at said issues, and you might say to yourself, why does Sean Puffy Combs, his name keep popping up every single day? I find that is weird. Every day, somebody got something new from 20 years ago. Nobody asks any questions. I find it weird that everybody was assaulted in the same way, using the same things. Even when they were saying these things, it wasn't even available. The type of things that they were accusing wasn't even available at that time or even popular at that time. But their stories are very similar to other people who are making civil accounts. No one else has been added to the criminal lawsuit except for victim one. He's still charged with the same 3 charges he was on the first day of the arraignment. Nothing new, nobody new has been added to the case. They're not even telling you that. So when you look at it full and wholeheartedly, they got a change of judge in the case because it was obvious they needed a new judge. Oh, when you see a situation that seems to require when you see a situation that seems to require a degree of tact, professionalism. Like I told you, when that guy from Abercrombie and Fitch was able to go home, in 10 minutes he was arrested. They say, hundreds of boys that are testifying against that man. He's at home with a $10 million bond. Diddy got $50 million in one person on his criminal case. and he can't get bond with 50 million. No one see this as a problem. I see it as a major problem. And people are like, oh, it's Diddy, though. He did. He deserved to be in jail. You're not seeing the issue here, people. And that's the problem. The issue is clear. The issue is this. If they were able to do this to Jonathan Majors, if they was able to do this to Sean Puffy Combs, what makes you think they won't do it to you? And you be like, but I ain't do nothing, no. I don't care. They were able to get away with it, and you didn't complain when they did it to them. The raid happens in Miami and California, but we're going to try it in New York. Never really seen that done before. So there's a reason why these things happen. And I often say to people, you have to watch how you say things and what you get excited about, because it'll turn around and bite you in the ass. Wrong is wrong. If Diddy committed a crime in any way, shape, or form and fashion, he deserves to go to jail if he did any of those things. We're not defending Diddy. When y'all keep thinking of defending Diddy, we're not. I haven't spoken about Diddy in probably 2-3 weeks because I've said enough, and everything else is just repetitive, just more salaciousness. So I'm just like, it's no need. Right. But see, we only want to face a problem and say, hey, it's a problem. And hey, listen to me when you get in trouble. And when you get in trouble, that's when you go, hey, what's going on here? And start waving your hands around. But by then, it's too late. And nobody, brothers ain't going to rally around you. They're not. They're not going to care. They're going to be going on with their lives. Yeah, well, when you have a certain degree of decorum, then, these things happen. Absolutely. So over this past weekend, you had a situation where yeah, well, it's all about different situations altogether. Now, over the weekend, that the freak off video was released. There's a freak off video where he's wearing a shirt that says God is the greatest. It's right after a party. We have said that it happened right after the awards, or he's wearing the same shirts from the awards. Well, it's just like when that video came out and when people were saying, oh, the news of it, the New York Post premiered this. We've seen the video. Right when they said we've seen the video, that's when it got insane. Yeah, right when they said that and made that statement, that's when it got insane. Blacks don't stay rich in America, either dead or locked up. Unfortunately, that's what they do. They have an economic prison system. And who you think they're going to use to fill those facilities? People that look like me and you. So naturally, that's going to be a problem. I don't see anyone doing anything to stop anything. So at this point, it's like, what were they going to do? The New York Post goes public. Before this happened, Diddy's defense team goes to the judge and said, we needed a gag order on this case. People are spreading false information, and the government is the reason this stuff is leaking out. Where did the Cassie video come from? Oh, the hotel gave it to us. How would the hotel still have it on file for all these years? That's a lie. It's a lie. And now the internet is forcing public opinion to ruin this man's chance at a fair trial. The whole thing is being done to ruin his chance at a fair trial. That's what it's about. So Diddy's not being able to be judged fairly. He's being judged on a scale that others don't have to live by. So after this, it put pressure on the judge to have no choice but to put a gag order on the case. So the New York Post had posted that this depraved freak-offs that a quoted federal law enforcement source involved in the probe called these so-called orgies sick it. In response, the Manhattan federal judge, Arun Subramanian, issued an order late on Friday, warning prosecutors and other law enforcement officials working on the case to follow the existing laws, barring them from releasing any grand jury information to the public or the non-public information that could impact a fair trial. So Yeah, well, they went by what the New York Post quoted and said those remarks, if made by an agent involved in the investigation or prosecution of this case, is plenty improper. They said, well, to be clear, this order isn't based on a finding that there is any wrongdoing thus far, as the court has made no finding in the juncture related to Diddy's allegations. That information related to this case has been leaked. The point of this order is to help ensure that nothing happens from now on that would interfere with a fair trial. The court will take appropriate action for any violation of the rules. Now, Diddy's lawyer requested that the videotape, the one with Cassie in the hotel hallway, Homeland Security agents leaked that to CNN, because they had the exclusive. And then from there, it went like wildfire everywhere. Well, they want to attach racketeering, trafficking, all these allegations that his record label, Bad Boy Records, he ran it like a criminal empire for more than a decade, right? But Sean Puffy Combs is not the owner of Bad Boy Records. His mother owns it. This is what it comes down to, because after the gag order, after the wild parties, there's no way that you could prove without a shadow of a doubt Diddy did something wrong. They can't prove that. This is the day this party turned into a Diddy party, because they said he was still wearing the same clothes he got on right here when it turned to everybody left, and it turned into a wild freak off. All the celebrities went home, and then it turned into a wild freak off with a bunch of unnamed people they can't name. But they can't tell you if it was legal or illegal. But what the New York Post decided to do was to make accusations and say a young person, a young male, a young hell. And what's young? You can even identify some of the people. Then they said one A-list star was in there. It's crazy enough as it is. Of course. It's about putting you in your place and setting an example for other rich celebrities like Jay-Z and everybody else that Diddy associated with, who, in case they ever want to try something like this again, if you ever try to buck up and try to challenge and misplace what you really are to them, they're going to embarrass you publicly. They're going to publicly humiliate you. That's what it's about. What you call a humiliation ritual, I call being black. It's another day of being black. We already showed you why and what they were doing to Diddy as the reasons. The reasons were on the table. They had no care about doing or performing these acts months ago. It should have been a gag order immediately. Just seeing how they're treating this guy that they know is guilty, even though he's getting a fair trial. That white guy got hundreds of boys. Him and his lover was putting them through all these acts. They found not guilty. You hardly hear anything about him. The Abercrombie and Fitch former CEO, they knew all about this way before they tried to make a move on Diddy. They already had this guy in the investigation. They already knew what he was doing. But nobody was going to act on it until everybody started pointing out you're just trying to tear down the image of black men. So now they said, well, we need a white guy. We got to take him down too. Who can we cash in? Oh, let's go get the former CEO. Oh yeah, let's grab him and his lover. We got to go and humiliate them. But not before Abercrombie and Fitch fired him. And then all the CEOs started to quit or get fired before all of this was going on. Remember all the CEO firings? Companies are trying to distance themselves from the incidents. There's all these young male models. Oh, yeah, they don't care. Wait, you thought they cared? The federal government? Right. We just going to go off the facts of the case. Is Diddy a freak? Of course he's a freak. We don't do that. Well, just because, what about Jimmy Iovine, Clive Davis, and Lucian Grange? I know. What about them? They can do what they want to do, and those people are protected. They're not going to go after them. Clive can barely walk around straight. He's like completely in his 80s. There's so many people out here that just don't get it sometimes. And it's hard for me to understand why they can't get it. The FBI, yeah, but they used us to do it. They sent in a mole. Yes, Clive did that to stop a blackmail attempt. And the person that, well, we'll save that for the Patreon. We'll save that from the page for the Patreon. A person thought it would be in their best benefit to do something that would basically alleviate them for the rest of their lives. No, they weren't in range. A lot of people say stuff, but they weren't in range to do it. You know, so if you look around and you see the people around you and you know they don't have your best interests at heart, then what is there to do? Believe you me, all the people that was there at those Diddy parties, they either wanted to be there or wanted to get their money, and all those people knew what they were there to do. Well, nobody gonna be at a Diddy house forced. I was forced to be here, man. He forced those titties in my mouth. I didn't want it, man. I wanted it to stop, but they wouldn't stop. And it was more and more titties. These people ain't gonna have somebody in there who's not with the program. That's not how it works. They're not gonna say, let me go do all my dirtiest secrets in front of a bunch of people I don't know who could walk out here and ruin my life. But yet, you're hearing all these stories from these crazy women and dudes. Like, he ruined my life. If it didn't happen to R. Kelly, when they tried to fly me out to New York, so I could come and listen to them lie to me. And I had my lawyer contact them and said, you talk to them and find out. They were like, you will get money, but we can't tell you on the phone how much money you're going to get. They wanted me to go lie on R. Kelly, or not lie, just state what I said in my video. But they want me to jump up and jump down on this dude. So if I didn't see this happen with R. Kelly, if they didn't contact me personally, meaning my phone rung, and it was these people who was getting ready to take down R. Kelly, come calling my phone because they were doing a documentary that you now know as Surviving R. Kelly. But this was not like any other documentary. This was made to take down R. Kelly. First time ever, a documentary is going to be used as evidence to open up cases to take down somebody. It was deliberately done this way. So how can he get a fair trial when you got on a major platform all these people? And then the girl I said I knew, who was the first person that lived on my block, which is all facts. First girl to ever sue him, lived on my block, was the last girl they brought on the show, which violated everything in her agreement. She was in the final part. And I'm like, whoa. She was in an ironclad contract. I don't know how y'all pull this off. She wasn't to mention anything about R. Kelly, nothing. And she was paid the amount of money, whatever amount it was, she was paid that. And because she was paid it, she was supposed to not speak. And the fact she went and did that, she listened to what they told her. Oh, don't worry about that. We can't tell you how much, but you're going to get paid. And that's all sometimes black folks need to hear. They finna get a bag. So they came in there and did what they did. But I did not cooperate. Everybody, I was just going to have to miss that. I said, I don't trust this. But they also wanted information on Jay-Z. They wanted to come in and discuss my Jay-Z video. We want to look into that too. Now, nothing's happened with Jay, but I found that to be interesting as well. And I said, wait a minute, this sounds like a trap. Then I got out and said, from now on, talk to my lawyer. And my lawyer said, it's definitely something sketchy going on here. But he's like, I'll look into it, but sketchy. Well, when you see a situation that thanks Dante, he gave me a super thanks. Thanks, Dante Bell. Oh yeah, they hit up my Cash App. Yeah, she can hit my Cash App up too. Mm. Really though? I never saw it that way. I look at it as a misfortune of events. What's happened with Sean Puffy Combs? That does not relate to all black rich men. They're all not gay. They're all not part of the boule. Some actually just don't. They just don't deal in that. They have a, a talent that they use, and that's that. Here's what you don't know about Quincy Jones and Michael Jackson. Hell no. Michael Jackson and Quincy Jones basically didn't. He would never do something like that. Like I said, they pick certain people who they're gonna choose for certain events. Like he's not gonna go after Michael Jackson and stuff like that. No, Quincy Jones basically didn't do any work. He did very minimal work. The people around Quincy Jones, his team, they did the work on the album. That's why after Thriller, Quincy Jones was hands on a lot and did a lot of work there. But after the Bad album, Michael Jackson just took the guys that worked with Quincy Jones. He said, I'm not going to deal with Quincy no more because Quincy don't work like we work. We're putting in the work. Like we're doing the 13, 14-hour days. Quincy walking in when the media is here and getting all the attention. And, and doing this where he's not really doing anything. So, yeah. Then Bubbles attacked Quincy Jones' daughter one time on the ranch. They had to call the doctor, get a doctor to come pick her up. And Bubbles had a lot of incidents. But you ain't supposed to keep a monkey in your house. And then I never forget, man, Michael Jackson had his rich celebrity friends come over and they had their baby and all that, brought their baby over, infant baby. And once they brought the baby over, yeah, this was long before Tupac was dating the daughter. And this daughter is not the one that was attacked. The daughter, that's the actress. She was the one that was attacked by Bubbles. Yes, Michael Jackson had his doctor take care of everything. It never made the press. No, he brought the celebrity friends that came over and brought the baby over to show Michael Jackson, and they showed the baby, and they handed the baby over like, "Oh, look at the baby." They handed the baby over, and once they handed the baby over to Michael Jackson, he gave the baby to Bubbles. And they had the little, the little crib like they sat him in where he could lay down and like sleep. And Michael Jackson hands the baby to Bubbles. And they're like, no, 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 it's okay. Watch, watch. The mother was so petrified. Michael Jackson, and yes, Rashida Jones, that's the one that got attacked by Bubbles. Now, Man, Michael Jackson handed these people baby to Bubbles. They were like, "Look, Michael, this is our new baby." Hey, Michael shaking the baby. Hi. Oh, Bubbles, you want to hold it? Here's the baby. They were like, "What the fuck is you doing?" Michael Jackson gave the baby over to Bubbles. And they was like, "No, no, no, watch, watch." And Bubble went, took the baby, set the baby in the crib. See, look, what I told you, Bubbles, he loves babies. I'm like, man, them parents was terrified. They were terrified. Ain't no way in hell. Oh yeah, Bubbles turned on Michael one day, and then that was it. Bubbles was gone. Bubbles was sent to a to a zoo. They put him in a special zoo now. He was becoming too agitated, and he gets angry quick. Like that's their nature. They will flip in a minute, man. He almost broke Michael Jackson's arm. Bubba was on the next thing smoking. He was up out of there. Yes, Bubbles is still alive. He's a big old chimp. He ain't no little bitty Bubbles no more. He's huge. Michael went and visited him one time while he was like in his cage locked up. Oh yeah, well it's gonna get like that. No, it's just what it is. No, hell no. Free Bubbles. No, I don't even think people do that stuff anymore because people's energy levels and where they at is entirely different from where they position themselves. You know what I'm saying? So people lie all the time. They lie to try to make themselves bigger than who they supposed to be. They do it all the time. Nobody cares at this point. I've told 90% of y'all what the situation was going to be. No, they're not going to do anything of the sort. What they're going to do is continuously come up with more ways to come up with more salacious things to say about Diddy. Nothing else has been added criminally. Yeah, nothing else has been added to the case. So they still have the same person of interest. Like the same victim. They got victim one, right? The case is in May. The trial is in 6 months. They haven't added anybody new to the case. So they bringing up all this footage and all this stuff, but there's only one victim added to the case. And it's Cassie. So this is a 14 page, one of the smallest ones you can see, but they got it open in case they add more stuff to it. It's like, like, that's just ridiculous. In my opinion, it's ridiculous. How can you? Well, it depends. What are you going to do in that situation? They didn't have the right people and personnel in place when they were doing certain acts back in the day. You could tell. You could always tell who wasn't doing what they were supposed to do. Well, you're going to want to always make sure you got the right people in play, because if you don't, then you're forever going to be in a situation that don't add up, and you're going to be in a situation that holds you down. Yeah, celebrities are now if you're a black celebrity, what are you doing? You're scared, you're nervous. You think Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith aren't afraid right now? They are. But see, they've told the line. So they're not trying to get cashed out. Well, when you have people that don't understand the reason for them to go through things, no. When most people get involved, that's the direction they take. No, because you put yourself in that situation, you're definitely going to be yeah, somebody will take his place. They found illegal guns in his house. And when the last time you heard about those guns? They were in Florida. In Florida. Okay, good luck with that. Trust me, you haven't heard anything about those guns. Nah, getting ready for the NFL picks. I got to put those up on my Patreon right before kickoff. No. Why do I do picks? Because we want to win money. That's why anybody would do picks. The Dolphins will beat Arizona. Yes, that's my lock. The Cleveland Browns +9 over Baltimore. Now, them the only two I'm gonna give you. The rest, you got to go on the Patreon and get them. Oh, Puffy Combs? Come on now. Listen, they're paying people to do stuff now on social media. Like OnlyFans is paying regular people to go out, and believe me, it is not the most. This dude got a video of his ex-girl. She's on OnlyFans, and she's having sex with like random people just for content for her OnlyFans, and she gets permission. Some of them like, just don't show my face. And they know they on OnlyFans and be saying crazy stuff. So he's a member of watching his girl, and he just embarrasses her because her family didn't even know she was doing it. And it's not like everybody's getting the hundreds of thousands. These people are barely getting any money at all. And you sleeping with random people. He's like, dude, she ain't even made $100 a week doing it. It's like goofy. And it's like, you don't have the body form to be on camera like that. Like these women that's getting this kind of money, they go to the gym. They got like, they get the surgeries. They do all of the extra stuff. And you would just risk putting yourself at risk of getting disease and everything else just for that, turnout. It was kind of pathetic. Three counts, same three counts he's facing. Mm, no, I never saw it like that. The Cassie and Diddy thing is it's what people don't want to say.
Began, quote, almost immediately asserting possession and control over her and inserting himself into all aspects of her career and her personal life. That includes things like forcing Cassie to use illegal drugs and have sex with prostitutes as Diddy watched or masturbated. Cassie's lawsuit also states that multiple times each year, Mr. Combs would violently beat Miss Ventura, leaving bruises on her body. He would later hide Miss Ventura in hotels for days at a time to let her bruises heal. We saw evidence of this brutal abuse when CNN released a graphic video showing Diddy assault Cassie in a hotel hallway. The release of that video led to Diddy posting this one.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life, but sometimes you got to do that. I was up. I mean, I hit rock bottom, but I made no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy, and go into rehab. I had to ask God for his mercy and grace. I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
Cassie's lawsuit was settled just one day after it was filed, but the civil suits just kept on coming. On November 23rd of last year, 2 more survivors filed suit against Diddy in New York. Let's begin with Liza Gardner. Liza's allegations date back to New York in 1990. She met Diddy and Aaron Hall at an event, and the pair were handsy with Liza and her friend. Liza and her friend then went to an after party where she, quote, was offered more drinks and was coerced into having sex with Combs. The lawsuit goes on to allege, quote, after Combs finished doing his business, Liza Gardner laid in bed, shocked and traumatized. As she was in the process of getting dressed, Hall barged into the room, pinned her down, and forced Liza Gardner to have sex with him. Then, days later, Liza alleges Diddy came to the place where she was staying. The lawsuit says he was, quote, irate and began assaulting and choking Liza Gardner to the point that she passed out.
All of these things are not connected. These are civil suits that basically Gardner's lawsuit has turned out to be nothing but trash and basically saying we can get millions of dollars. He's got all the money and we can get all the money. This is what's wrong with people with no principle. You run into these people and you're running into disease and famine. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Well, that happens. You have to learn that you are the best vessel for your material. Nobody can tell your life story better than you, right? It is what it is.
According to Liza's lawsuit, she demands a jury trial, and the case is still open and ongoing. So too is the civil suit brought by Joy Dickerson Neal. That's the other one who filed suit on November 23rd of last year. Her allegations date back to 1991, when she was a psychology student at Syracuse University. Joy knew Diddy because they had mutual friends, and she'd appeared in a few of his music videos. So the pair went out on a date, but Joy says Diddy intentionally drugged her, resulting in her being in a physical state where she could not independently stand or walk. After that, she alleges Diddy raped her and recorded it on video. She found out about this tape a few days later when a friend revealed he'd seen it. The next suit filed against Diddy came from a woman identifying herself only as Jane Doe. Her suit was filed on December 2nd, 2023. While Jane Doe doesn't list her name in the lawsuit, she does list multiple photos of herself and Diddy. Her allegations date back to 2003, when she was just 17 years old and in the 11th grade. Her lawsuit states at this time, Diddy was twice her age and one of the most well-known and influential music artists of all time. She met one of Diddy's friends, Harvey Pierre, who's listed as a co-defendant in her lawsuit at a club near Detroit. So Harvey Pierre says Diddy would love to meet Jane Doe and even calls him on the phone. After that, they take a private jet to New York. Once there, Jane Doe says the evening became a blur, but she was raped by Diddy, Harvey Pierre, and an unidentified other person at Diddy's studio. The next lawsuit brings the accusations against Diddy into 2024 when Rodney Jones.
Right, Little Rod. So we all caught up. Those were the other crazy lawsuits that you didn't hear about, those other ones. So we wanted to just bring those to light, just so you can see what craziness is going on around here. And then this lion bastard right here, Lil Rod. Oh, yes. So my NFL picks are going in. Matter of fact, they're already up. Yeah, it's already up on the Patreon. So for all my all access and VIP members, you have the picks. And thank y'all for listening. And I'm out.